knowing that the military full well still respects him far more than they do Zelensky. They never respected Zelensky even before the war, especially the Azov Battalion and people who are adjacent to that sort of ideological thought. They never really respected Zelensky for obvious reasons, perhaps related to his origin and ethnicity. But it appears as though his walking papers, as Seymour Hersh has indicated, he's not long for this world, at least with respect to Ukraine, that is. France has suffered a catastrophic defense leak, 13 gigabytes of naval group data, including nuclear sub-combat software. This was likely a massive vulnerability to Russian or Chinese exploitation, and there was no ransom demanded, which means that this was likely a nation state who did this. This was a message being sent, of course, France, when it comes to UK or France or the 100-odd tactical nuclear weapons that are peppered throughout NATO by the United States. France has the most formidable nuclear forces, so this could potentially have been a very big blow in terms of enabling the Russians and the Chinese to have some pretty important information that could potentially compromise any sort of nuclear exchange in our direction. As I indicated, Iran is testing the Russian S-400 under real conditions near the Isfahan nuclear facility. The system includes 48 N6E3 and possibly 40 N6 missiles up to 380-kilometer range. This signals Iran's readiness to shoot down F-35 jets and alters Israel's nuclear calculus. Of course, there's lots of rumblings. Things are quite quiet on that front, but it appears as though Israel is getting ready to make a move in Lebanon, and there are rumors that Iran has actually decided to come to the aid of Lebanon, unlike in recent times, if they get attacked. And they could be emboldened by this delivery of the S-400 systems, but the jury is still out on what Russia will permit them to use it for. Is it just for certain reasons, as it was in Syria, which it never got used for? I would presume that in Syria, Russia was able to collect a lot of data on the U.S. Advanced weapon systems and have likely been able to tune those radars and those systems to these fifth-generation fighter jets. I'm not an expert, but I just presume seeing them fly around all over the place all the time, they would have collected a lot of useful information about those particular things. North Korea has declared denuclearization talks as dead. Well, isn't that interesting, considering that Trump was the first person to go and shake Kim Jong-un's hand? Well, I want you to play that tape forward, okay? I want you to think about if Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin shake hands, and if this is the outcome 10 years from today, when you had Kim Jong-un at that time appear to be turning a corner in U.S. relations, only to that following month initiate a string of missile tests which dwarfed any preceding year on record in 2017, 2018. Well, now, while Trump is in office for a second term, it appears as though relations have completely soured, and North Korea is demanding that they acknowledge them as a nuclear power, which of course is never going to happen. And this at the same time when North Koreans are fighting in Eastern Europe and preparing to enter into the fight in Ukraine and sharing a nuclear pact with the Russians. Okay, so now if you attack North Korea, you got to go up against Russia's nukes, which is crazy to think about, that we've come that far, that it's been normalized. There was a time, if you recall, that any suggestion that the North Koreans were helping Russia at all, I mean, this is way before artillery shell deliveries, that was seen as big news, right? That was like World War III headlines. And here we are today. They have a nuclear pact. They're sending 30,000 troops to the front. And North Korea just told Donald Trump to go fuck himself. I mean, if that doesn't sound the alarm on things, then I don't know what will. German Eurofighters, all 5 of them, I think, it's kind of a joke, but regardless, it's a step in the wrong direction, arrive in Romania to begin NATO air policing. Romanian F-16s deployed to the Baltics and Bulgaria. Also, Eastern NATO airspace now under continuous rotation, reflecting high alert status. And don't think for a second that the F-16s being flown by the Ukrainians aren't just coming across the border from Romania and Poland and being flown by NATO pilots. I mean, it's just mission creep, right? So I've been saying that since day one. I told you I was the first one to talk about this, and then it came out, it was made official that in fact there were NATO pilots piloting these things. I told you that it was these F-16s would not be flown by Ukrainians, and that once you put one in there, you're never going to know. You could just keep replacing it. It doesn't really matter the number that they say are there, because NATO has all these F-16s on their borders, and they're kind of interchangeable. You just change the decals, and there you go. If you can even see them in the sky, all Russia is going to see is maybe a radar signature, right? So they're never going to know. And this is very problematic because these are nuclear delivery platforms. Anyways, we're seeing mobilization across the front, but nobody cares, right? Because it's just the times that we're living in. People are so desensitized to this stuff, but it's going to make a whole lot of sense when it does finally hit the fan. Lithuania is fortifying their air defenses on the Belarusian border after the second Russian drone incursion. This month, a full drone detection network is being deployed across the entire border. A military drone with explosive payload and Ukrainian markings crashed in Belarus. Now, Ukraine has refrained from targeting Belarus specifically, which is surprising considering Belarusian involvement in this conflict, going so far to act as a staging ground for Russia to launch the war against Ukraine in the first place. There have been a few attacks, but nothing significant. So we could very well see NATO start to attack Belarus in that direction. As I indicated, the EU is going to be buying $750 billion worth of U.S. energy and weapons, replacing Russian supply lines completely. Of course, this is a resource war. And the only way the United States has a hope in hell of getting out of debt is if they cut the Russians out of the market entirely, and in fact try to acquire Russian resources by balkanizing it, installing some sort of puppet government and taking over all of the resource wealth of that country. The strategic alignment with the United States is deepening, and essentially you're having all of these bridges burned because now that you have this agreement with Trump, well, that guarantees that Europe can never make peace with Russia, you see? So it's just this self-perpetuating cycle. Germany is developing long-range strike drones via consortia with a variety of different German companies in order to bypass Russian air defense. Again, it's all recon by fire, the testing defenses for the big grand finale decapitation strike attempt that will be coordinated at high level by artificial intelligence and all of NATO's assets that are forward deployed in the region. Poland once again reiterated their urge to citizens to leave Russia. Ukraine begins conscripting men over 60 due to drastic manpower shortages and due to severe attrition. And Kaliningrad pretext appears to be brewing. We have potential GPS jamming incidents as a legal cover for intervention. Some people are saying that EU military logistics are failing and that roads and bridges cannot support tank movement eastward, which I find interesting that they're really giving serious thought to fighting a conventional war with the Russians. That just seems absurd that the Russians would even entertain such a notion, because it would be a losing battle. It's one thing to fight Europe. It's another thing to fight Germany, or Germany. It's another thing to fight Europe. It's another thing to fight Europe and the United States. It's just something they can't do unless they have the full support of the Chinese in every possible way. Then it's possible to fight a conventional war. Anyways, Europe is upgrading their roads and their bridges in order to accommodate the movement of large amounts of military equipment across mainland Europe to the front lines. So,
Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Final destination. All right. Let's give double honors to our elders, paving the way, continuing to put in this work on the streets and in the class. All right. Kwame Yashala, Rise Israel. Let me get everything in order here, okay? Because we got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. So we're gonna it's going to be one of those, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, let me first also say, let me set this up.
Learned, and tonight his wife is.
Okay, let me first say, Fair Use Act, Fair Use Act. This video is protected by the Fair Use Act. This is a teaching moment. This is a class, thus being protected by the Fair Use Act. This is for educational purposes only, okay? Let's begin. All right, this class is called Final Destination. I've seen a lot of news stories that remind me of the movie Final Destination. Like this is crazy things that have been happening and different ways to die. Things being seen on the earth and in the sky. Everything's lining up. So, like I said, let's get started. We're going to start with Jeremiah chapter 11 and verse 9. Some more incense down, and we can begin. All right, Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 9. And the Lord said unto me, a conspiracy is found among the men of Judah and among the inhabitants of Jerusalem. They are turned back to the iniquities of their forefathers, which refused to hear my words. And they went after other gods to serve them. The house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken my covenant, which I have made with their fathers. Backtracking, you know what I mean? Going back to the vomit, if you will. Verse 11. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they try to cry, and though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them. So that's a scary spot to be in, where God's not listening as you're praying and trying to get help. Okay. In this situation, this story, this really made me think about Final Destination. Like, when you talk about terrible ways to die, this will be at the forefront. Okay. So, parental guidance, you know what I mean? Advisory, watch at your own risk. You know what I'm saying? This is where we're at. It's 2025, and the Most High God is taking people out left and right. Okay. Makes you want to repent. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Wednesday wake up call is about, you know what I mean? Attempting to shake some sense into our people, you know what I mean? And of course you feel, man, I got sense. Just to reiterate and, keep going in the right direction if that's the case. And if you're going in the wrong direction, to get back on track, because things like this is happening.
But first tonight, the man pulled into an MRI by his necklace has died, we've learned. And tonight, his wife is grieving his loss after she says she watched him get sucked into that machine. News 12 Cecilia Dowd has the story.
I saw the machine snatch him around and slam pulling into the machine. He died. He went limp in my arms.
Adrienne Jones McAllister says her husband, Keith McAllister, died after he was sucked into an MRI machine at Nassau Open MRI in Westbury.
I haven't been able to sleep. I'm barely eating. I just can't believe. I still can't wrap my head around the whole thing. He waved goodbye to me, and his whole body went limp.
Adrienne said after she'd had an MRI on her knee Wednesday, she needed help getting up. She said she asked the technician to get her husband.
And I yelled out Keith's name, Keith, come help me up, come help me up.
She said the technician went to get her husband and brought him into the room, despite the fact that Keith was wearing a 20-pound chain around his neck with a large lock that he used for weight training.
They was standing there laughing and joking before he even came to the table.
When Keith got closer to Adrian to help her up, she said the unthinkable happened.
At that instant, the machine switched him around, pulled him in, and he hit the MRI.
Adrian says she and the tech tried to pry Keith off the machine, but it was impossible.
I was like, could you turn up the machine, call 911, do something, turn this damn thing off?
Adrian said that this was not the first time she and Keith had been to Nassau Open MRI, and she said he'd worn the big chain here before.
It's not the first time that guy has seen that chain. They had a conversation about it before. Oh, that's a big chain.
Adrian said Keith, a hardworking man who always gave his all, suffered several heart attacks following the incident. He was 61 years old.
And I loved him so much.
Reporting from Hempstead in Nassau County, Cecilia Dowd, News 12.
Just so horrible. Now, we reached out to Nassau Open MRI for a comment yesterday and repeatedly today, but they have not responded. We'll keep an eye on that.
So, fast forward, they were saying that they didn't open the door, that he just came in. So they're saying that the wife was saying, I'm calling his name, and he came in probably thinking like, yo, is she all right? With the machine still on and him having this 20-pound weight around his neck. And that guy, they say he's 61 years old. If you look at that picture, he don't look like he's 61. So I'm sure, he's working out, probably eating healthy and everything like that. And he's walking around with a 20-pound chain. You know what I'm saying? But what the wife says that they opened the door for him to get him, and that would be definitely lawsuit city, you know what I mean? Because, in order for somebody to come in there, they got to make sure, do you have any, they ask you if you ever had an MRI before, you have any metal in you, and, take your glasses off, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a large magnet, you know what I mean? In the MRI machine. So talk about Final Destination. It gripped him up and grabbed him to the MRI machine, and he just died right in front of his wife, man. Looking up, doing my little research on them, you know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking, because it says in Luke 13th chapter, it talks about tower collapsing and people dying, and Yahushua saying, oh, you think you better than them? Pretty much like, yeah, they might have died in such a horrible death, but you think you better than them? You better repent or you gonna perish, right? But I'm looking like, that's a terrible way to die. So looking it up, it looks like from the wife's perspective anyway, I couldn't really find nothing on the husband that, followed Christianity, you know what I mean, in the name of Jesus and all that. But, like the scriptures talk about, it says you turn back for your iniquities, which refuse to hear my words. You know what I'm saying? So, in Christianity, they don't read the entire Bible. They just, a lot of Christians start with the New Testament and just stay there. You know what I mean? So not knowing the law, not understanding the prophets and the prophecies, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much, going in like halfway as far as following the Most High God, and not even halfway because you're not following the law, which is crucial. But man, that's a Final Destination event if I ever heard one. But wait, there's more. All right, let's go to Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 7. The Most High got smoke for everybody. You know what I mean? His people that don't want to hearken to the law, statutes, commandments, and the words in the scriptures, and to the other nations. So this is regarding the other nations. This happened in Oregon. Having a beautiful, relaxing day on the lake, enjoying the weather, you know what I'm saying? The breeze. Okay, sunlight, hopefully they had sunscreen, because if they don't, then they're not enjoying that. But regardless, sunscreen or not, then good. Okay, Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 7. The wicked are overthrown and are not. Remember that. But the house of the righteous shall stand. Okay, so being overthrown, You can only imagine in the Final Destination segment that we're in, what does that mean? Well, you're about to find out.
The sheriff's office in Deschutes County, Oregon, says a group of 6 was tubing. They missed the final takeout point. 3 people were able to jump out, but sadly, 3 were swept into those rapids and crashed over Dillon Falls. That includes a North Texas woman. 40-year-old Amanda Lloyd is from Rockwall. She's one of the victims who crashed after the 15-foot drop from that waterfall. Lloyd died on Saturday, just 3 days after her birthday. 33-year-old Lindsay Bashan from Parkland, Florida, is the other woman who's been confirmed dead by authorities there. Dillon Falls is a Class 5 rapid with dangerous white water. Officials say it's a popular float area with signage warning people when to get out, but it can be risky for those who are unfamiliar with the area.
The issue with that spot is just right around the bend from the Deus area is where the rapids begin. And if people get caught there, it's almost impossible for them to be able to get out.
The 3 people who were able to escape before going over the waterfall were taken to the hospital. I did have an opportunity to connect with Amanda Lloyd's father, who says that you would have been lucky to have known her. Back to you.
All right. So now one thing we know, right? As far as the number 3, right? Jesus died at age 33. And you see Masons use this number. You know, like you get the 33-degree Masons, you know, that's the highest you can go, all that stuff, right? And with the C word, there, you know, you saw like maybe you haven't, but people have spliced from the news articles or news clippings, right, on TV, this person, oh, there's 33 people that got it in California, 33 people that got it in Pennsylvania, 33 people, like everybody apparently like, well, 33 new cases, right? And everybody's like, ah, man, it's them daggone Masons, you know what I mean? Those secret societies. And, you know, I wouldn't doubt that, you know what I mean? Because what if it was 34? They could easily say 33 and just get away with it and just kind of tell all their buddies like, yeah, this is us. You know, this is it. This is go time, right? But in this situation, it was literally 3 people that survived. It was 3 days after her birthday. The other person that died was 33 years old. There's some things that I don't think they can, you know, fake, you know, because it's, it easily could be looked at whether it was 3 days after her birthday, how old the person was that died, and how many people survived. And they're all 3s. It's a lot of 3s, okay? So, like I said, this is called Final Destination. People fell over the waterfall. Can imagine the sheer terror right before seeing that the other side of the water and rocks, was that Psalm 137, you know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of rock on head action going into the kingdom, you know. Esau started it off, you know what I'm saying? Let's continue on. Let's get Sirach chapter 39 and verse 30. I believe Elder McCobb brought this scripture out while, bringing out the word in Philadelphia during the rebuke of violence in this city, which coincided with 20 people getting shot during that weekend of rebuking the violence. You know what I'm saying? So it's really like, the words coming out, if you don't listen, it's going to be a deadly situation. Okay. But let's continue on. Sirach chapter 39 and verse 30. It's hot out. A lot of people like to dip their feet in the water of the oceans and stuff. But, the Most High could have other plans for these people. Sirach chapter 39, verse 30. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions and serpents and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. Teeth of wild beast. Let's get that.
Also tonight, we know they're rare, so when shark attacks happen, it certainly catches everyone's attention.
It sure does. There's a man from Canada recovering now in the hospital after he was bitten by a shark at Hollywood Beach. NBC6's Ari Otzer has the story and the 911 calls.
So the attack happened a few blocks north of where I'm standing at the Hallandale-Hollywood border. A man in his 40s was swimming in about chest-deep water when he was suddenly attacked, and then beachgoers immediately called for help.
We have someone here that got eaten by something in the ocean.
The 911 calls came in from tourists, stunned by what they saw. A man had been attacked by a shark.
Is that okay? We have emergency here.
Hollywood Fire Rescue and Hallandale Beach lifeguards responded quickly.
He was actually in chest level water. He was here visiting from Canada with his family and friends, and he actually said that he saw the fish jump over his head. And then next thing you know, he saw a big splash and then he was injured.
It's not unusual to see sharks in South Florida waters. They are routinely spotted from the air. And go to any marina when the fishing boats come back, and you'll see plenty hanging around for scraps. But attacks on humans?
It is rare. We haven't seen one in years.
She's talking about Hollywood specifically, but it applies in general. Your risk of drowning in the ocean is far greater than being attacked by a shark.
This is the reality of going in the ocean.
Dr. Yannis Papastamatiu of FIU is a world-renowned shark researcher. That's him diving with those bull sharks.
We have a lot of people going in the water. A lot of people come here because of the beach, right? And they go into the water. And we have a lot of sharks. We do see a lot of sharks in these waters. Yet it's extremely rare to hear of somebody getting bitten. And so the probability is very, very low. And that's just a testament to the fact that for the most part, we really are not on the menu of these animals. Now, of course, the risk isn't zero.
The risk is never zero. Dr. Papastamatiu says the likely culprit was either a blacktip, bull, tiger, or lemon shark. The victim will go back to Canada with a frightening story to tell.
I was able to speak with him. He is out of surgery. He is very alert and well, and he's recovering very well.
So tips from the experts to avoid sharks, other than just staying out of the ocean altogether, include stay away from schools of fish because sharks might be hunting them. Try to go into the ocean with a group of people rather than just by yourself. And remember, if the water is murky, you might not be able to see the shark, and the shark might not be able to see you, increasing the chances of an unwanted encounter. We're at the beach in Hallandale. Ari Otzer, NBC6 News.
So he said it could be possibly a black tip, bull, or lemon shark. I'm one to believe it was probably the black tip shark. Apparently those are more violent. You know what I mean? They don't pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And they like the, you can't take them anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You can't take them anywhere. They're always shooting places up and so forth and so on. So the black tip shark jumped over Esau. I'm assuming it's Esau. I know there's other people in Canada other than the Edomites, but let's be real, okay? If you're going in the ocean and then you're going chest deep, 9 times out of 10, you're an Edomite, and you're thinking that nothing can ever happen to you. The shark jumped over him and then ate him. Well, it took a chunk out of him. He didn't die, but yeah, that happened, and that's some Final Destination type time. You know what I mean? I'm coming down from Canada down to Florida, and actually, a lot of people from Canada have not been coming down to Florida because of the tariffs. A lot of them sold their, condos and summer houses down Florida to the point where they can't even sell them because it's saturated the market because everything that Donald Trump has been doing. So this guy says, I'm still down with America, and the Most High said, you should have stayed in Canada. You got bit by a shark. Pretty sure that hurt. Moving on. The sword is swinging. People getting shot left and right. It has been a multitude of mass shootings occurred. One just took place in Philadelphia a couple hours ago. Children have gotten shot, a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 17-year-old, and somebody else. I'm not sure how old they were. But 4 people shot. Broad daylight, of course. At a rec center where 50 no, 75 people were enjoying their summer, their days of summer, and then that sword started swinging. Let's get Sirach. We're going to stay in Sirach chapter 39, and we're going to go with 28. Okay. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sword strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made him. So these spirits jump on people and cause destruction. And destruction has been prevalent in the past few days. We'll get to that. But for now, let's just start in Nevada. Now, if you remember, Nevada is where the so-called alien landed. Nevada, Slovakia. It was in Las Vegas, right? Las Vegas, Nevada, in 2023. So interesting enough, in that state, like mass shootings, a mass shooting happened there, and a mass shooting happened in Slovakia, in Manhattan, and the person was from Nevada. So Spirit jumped on both of them to take, to do some damage. And let's talk about this one first. This was at the casino.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Myself and my colleagues are here to provide you an update about this morning's critical incident. At this point in time, we will be providing several different statements from different members of our team that are here. However, we will not be taking questions. At this time, it is an active and ongoing investigation. I want to start with my deepest condolences to the victims and their families, as well as to our entire community. Tragedies like this are horrific for any community to endure, not just for the victims, the first responders, and the people who were there, but for everyone who calls our community home. Violence is not acceptable, especially in our public spaces. Everyone has the right to be safe here, and we are committed to ensuring the safety in our city. I want to be clear, the suspect is to blame for this incident. His actions is responsible for the tragedies that he created. This morning at 7:25, Reno police officers responded to the Grand Sierra Resort on the report of an active shooter. Within 2.5 minutes, our PD officers arrived on scene. The suspect confronted these responding officers with a firearm, and an officer-involved shooting occurred. The bravery and rapid response by our officers stopped the suspect's rampage on innocent victims, which definitely saved lives and prevented additional people from being victimized. Officers and personnel from the GSR provided medical aid to the victims until Reno Fire Department and REMSA arrived on scene. The quick response by these skilled medical professionals ensured immediate treatment and transportation without hesitation to local hospitals. During the incident, one officer sustained minor injuries, most likely from glass fragments. This was the only physical injury our officers received during the incident. Officers, deputies from the Reno Police Department, Washoe County Sheriff's Office, Nevada Highway Patrol, Nevada State Police, Nevada Parole and Probation, Sparks Police, and several federal agencies responded to the scene. I cannot thank our first responders and GSR personnel enough for their rapid response and help in ensuring the victims of this tragedy received instantaneous help. The Sparks Police Department will be the primary investigating agency for the officer-involved shooting and the active shooter investigation. And this is part of our...
All right, I don't know what's wrong with their camera work or whatever, but didn't get a whole lot of information from there. But as far as I can see, three unalived and 3 injured in a casino shooting in Nevada, Reno, Nevada. Let's move on. Let's go to Sirach. Stay in Sirach. Next verse, verse 29. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. So sticking with the Nevada situation, guy drove to Manhattan and decided it'd be a good idea with I think it's AR-15 or something to go in there and spray the place. So that's exactly what happened. So this isn't the only one. I can't go through all the mass shootings that happened in America in the past, like what weekend, but Atlanta, 1 dead, 1 unalived, Slovakia, 10 injured. Reno, Nevada, like we said, 3 unalived, 8 injured. It said 3 in the video, but I think they upped it to 8 injured. Manhattan, 5 unalived, 5 injured. In Michigan, I can't think of the city, but city in Michigan, being with a T, 11 knifed up. Okay. I don't think anybody passed away, but 11 is a pretty, substantial number. And you already know Philadelphia and Chicago, it just keeps going. I think 20 were hit just in the weekend in Philadelphia. Chicago, I'm not sure of the numbers, but you can see it is the gat is spraying everywhere. So let's see what happened in New York. This is another like lengthy video. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but just so we get the understanding of what occurred.
Again, this hour with breaking news, a shooting a short time ago in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. It happened outside 345 Park Avenue between 51st and 52nd Streets. Take a look here. You can see someone with a rifle walking outside the building on Park Avenue that contains the NFL headquarters and the consulting company Blackstone. A short time later, we could see people walking outside with their hands up. Let's get right to our Aaron Katersky, who's on the phone with the latest reporting. Aaron, just give us a TikTok of what you know happened so far.
We believe that this man who's armed with a long gun, Lindsay, shot an off-duty NYPD officer who was working a security detail at 345 Park Avenue. We believe for the Blackstone Group. The building also, as you say, contains the headquarters of the NFL. It's not clear that either of those companies or any company happened to be involved in this, but the man is believed to have shot the off-duty officer, at least 1 civilian as well. Their conditions unknown, and then fled inside the building. There was a floor-by-floor search as police pursued the suspect. People who work for various companies in the building were told to shelter in place, and the upper floors remain locked down tonight, Lindsay. Finally, the shooting suspect, according to police sources, was found dead of what's believed to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound on the 33rd floor of the building.
And so the lockdown is now over, Aaron, is that right?
The lockdown is not over as far as the police are concerned. They are still keeping some of the upper floors of the building locked down, perhaps as they conclude their investigation, but other people have been cleared to leave. So it's just been a terrifying day and into the evening for people who work at 345 Park Avenue and the surrounding buildings in Midtown Manhattan, concentrated with any number of office buildings. There's some residential in the area too. But this shooting happened in daylight on a very hot day. It sent people scattering. It sent other people who were inside the building seeking cover where they were before police gave the all clear, saying the suspect was found dead on the 33rd floor.
We understand that the deputy director of the FBI says the Bureau is now providing assistance to the NYPD. I know it's still early on in the investigation. I'm imagining the shooter's name hasn't been released or if he had any relationship with any of the offices inside the building.
So apparently the guy was a football player, and they say he targeted the NFL section of that skyscraper, and there he goes, 33rd floor. So was he sent by MK Ultra mind control situation? You know what I mean? Coming from Nevada, maybe he was taken out of a bunker down there in Area 51. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Now that's of course all a few conspiracies all tied in one, or maybe that spirit just jumped on him and said, I'm going to drive from Las Vegas to New York across the entire country to shoot up a skyscraper or the NFL office and tag a couple cops. So the what it comes down to is the truth is stranger than fiction. I could give all the conspiracy theories and all that are available, but what it comes down to is there's some serious business going on right now. You know what I'm saying? We're on some Final Destination type time, so just, following God's law, statutes, commandments is the way to go. It's the way to go. You know what I mean? Don't collect $200 out. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Figure it out, like, by following these law, statutes, commandments. So, you can bypass MRI machines and 33rd floor shootings with AR-15s from somebody that was 3,000 miles away or more. All right, let's continue on. Now, apparently, it wasn't on my bingo card, but, we all knew that the chariots are out there. Now they're saying another interstellar object is rushing into our solar system, going at an unbelievable pace and an unbelievable speed. And just like Oumuamua back in 2017. 2025 now. So it hasn't been a whole lot. I think it was 3, they said. Objects from outside of our solar system paying us a visit that they have on record, but we already know that that's not necessarily the case. There's chariots all over this place, but this one they said is larger, and it is, I think, 7 miles wide. Okay, let's get Deuteronomy 32 and 35. A lot of stuff's happening at a rapid pace, and people, are getting judged on a daily basis. Okay, let's get that. Deuteronomy 32 and 35. To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. All right, that's what I wanted to get into. Making haste. So let's check this out.
Something colossal is tearing through the heavens faster than anything we've seen before. It's not just space, dust, or a rogue rock. This might be an interstellar messenger. Scientists are scrambling. The cosmos has thrown us a curveball, one we never saw coming.
This might be living among us, right here on Earth, disguised as humans. And all the UFO sightings we hear about, those are just spaceships from other planets coming to visit their alien friends here on Earth.
A titanic celestial object has ripped through the edge of our solar system, defying all expectations, breaking all known speed limits and silencing seasoned scientists. Hurtling through space at a velocity that challenges belief, this is no ordinary asteroid. This is the largest, fastest, and only the 3rd confirmed interstellar object ever recorded by humanity, and it's coming our way. Designated 3I Atlas. This is the path of the cosmic object. In its present trajectory, it will fly deep through the solar system, passing just inside the orbit of Mars. Scientists are baffled. Is it a rogue comet, an ancient relic flung from a dying star system? Or could it be something even more thrilling? An alien probe silently scanning our solar neighborhood? Make no mistake. This is no regular orbiting rock. It's cutting across the solar system at a blistering pace. This new cosmic visitor is similar to Oumuamua, which created quite a buzz for its unique shape, which is unlike any other asteroid. Oumuamua was first detected on October 2017. With telescopes around the world now locked on target and probes soon adjusting their gaze, the race to decipher this enigma is on. The universe just knocked on our front door. What mysteries does this three-eye atlas holds?
So who are these aliens living among us? They're called crypto-terrestrials. They're highly advanced, incredibly deceptive, and they're capable of hiding in plain sight. There are several theories on the origins of these crypto-terrestrials. Some speculate an advanced ancient civilization was destroyed, with only a few surviving in secrecy, possibly in the base on a moon. And we don't know for certain where these crypto-terrestrials are from, or even if they exist, but one thing's for certain. Many believers think that the government knows more than they're letting on. A Pentagon official came forward this week revealing their 7-minute encounter with a glowing turquoise UFO, which gave off enough energy to power a city. That official isn't alone. More UFO whistleblowers are breaking their silence and exposing what they've seen. Watch.
My God. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 miles to the west. Look at that thing, dude. It's rotating. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
Biological anthropology professor who conducted this study, Michael Masters, joins us now. Okay, professor. Have you seen one of these, what are they called, crypto-terrestrials living among us?
I have not seen one personally, no. And actually, the study is a very conservative approach to this question. As you did a great job highlighting in your intro piece there, this is a real phenomenon, and we need to take it seriously, and we need to start asking the questions about what are they, who are they, where are they coming from, potentially when are they coming from, and even if they have set up shop here on Earth in the past and living amongst us.
You say it's a real phenomenon. How do we know it's a real phenomenon?
I mean, if you look across time and space, these have been reported for millennia. And even if you don't want to take that at face value, look at the cockpit videos, look at all of the reports by military, police officers, whose testimony we can certainly take seriously because they're trained to identify things that are a threat, and they're trained to identify things that are unexplainable. And there's so many cases where they do report just that.
So the difference is we all see these things or hear about them visiting, right? In the spaceship or there's a sighting. But this study takes it a step further. It's saying they're living among us. Does that mean like Gutfeld's an alien and he's just disguised as a cable TV host?
It's certainly possible, and I would look into that because you never know. But we should take the question of UFOs seriously. What we're trying to do is offer a grounded scientific approach to some possibilities about what they might be. So yeah, there have been other proposals as well. Me personally, I've written 3 books about whether they could be future human time travelers coming back to visit their own past, and in the same way I would as a biological anthropologist if I had access to that technology. And that is one of the possibilities we include in
as well. We are tracking a new discovery this afternoon. Scientists just finding something beyond our skies. Here's 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Meredith Garofalo with those details.
History was just made amongst the stars last week with the discovery of an interstellar object coming to our solar system from a galaxy far, far away. This marks just the 3rd time on record a celestial body has crossed into our solar system from another. The object, which we now have confirmed from astronomers, is a comet named 3I Atlas, and it was initially observed by a telescope located in Chile on July 1st. Now, this telescope is just one of 4 worldwide that's part of an alert system, keeping an eye out for anything moving in space that could pose a threat to our planet. Now, good news. Thankfully, this whirling ball, which is made up of ice, rock, and dust, is not on a collision course with Earth. The closest it will get, well, that point is about 150 million miles away. Back to you.
Now, I didn't know this. Almost all cosmic visitors, like comets and asteroids, come from within our solar system, not from some galaxy far, far away. And that's because it's very hard for a cosmic object to break away from a star's gravitational pull. Now, I know this because only the third interstellar object ever recorded has been in the news. 3I Atlas was spotted on 1st of July by NASA. Now, this comet-like object is racing towards the sun at over 136,000 miles per hour. Before you ask, no, it poses no threat to Earth.
A titanic celestial object has ripped through the edge of our solar system. Hurling through space at a velocity that challenges belief, this is no ordinary asteroid, nor a regular orbiting rock. This is the largest, fastest, and only the third confirmed interstellar object ever recorded by humanity. The object was initially labeled as A11PL3Z, but later renamed to 3I Atlas, where 3I denotes its status as the third interstellar object detected.
3I Atlas was discovered on July 1st by the NASA-funded Atlas survey. It was discovered using their telescope at Rio Hurtado in Chile, and it was first detected as a speck of light moving relative to background stars. We collected a good amount of data, more than 100 observations. We know its trajectory fairly well. We know it came from outside the solar system. Right now, it's inside the orbit of Jupiter, and it's headed for its closest pass to the sun at the end of October. That's going to be barely inside the orbit of Mars, and then it's going to keep going on its way out of the solar system.
The first interstellar object ever seen from Earth was called Oumuamua. The name means scout in Hawaiian, chosen to honor the observatory in Hawaii that discovered it back in 2017. Following Oumuamua, the second confirmed interstellar comet was 2I Borisov, founded in 2019 by Crimean amateur astronomer Gennady Borisov. Our third interstellar visitor is on the path that will carry it deep into the solar system, passing just inside the orbit of Mars.
It's a rare opportunity, and as a scientific community, we want to collect as many data as possible to characterize this object and learn as much as we can.
According to Teddy Curetta, an assistant professor at Villanova University near Philadelphia, the 3I Atlas is moving at nearly 37 miles per second, or 133,200 miles per hour. The researchers say the 3I Atlas could be around 3 billion years older than our 4.5 billion-year-old solar system, making it older than any other interstellar object ever observed.
From images, we also saw that this object is active, which means that around the nucleus there is some coma, which is an indication that this object is in fact a comet. Right now, it's hard to say how big this object is because being active, the brightness that we see is partially due to the size of the object, but also is partially due to the activity. And so we cannot really pinpoint the nucleus size directly. We have to better understand how active this object is, and then we can refine the size estimate and get a good idea.
A report by NASA says that 3I Atlas poses no threat to Earth and will remain at a distance of at least 1.6 astronomical units, which is about 150 million miles or 240 million kilometers.
This object comes nowhere close to the Earth. It's going to make a pass close-ish to Mars at about 30 million kilometers or roughly 20 million miles from the red planet, but nowhere close to the Earth. It's not going to make a major close approach to any of the planets. So no risk from this object, just a scientific opportunity.
3I Atlas is similar to Oumuamua, which created quite a buzz for its unique shape, which is unlike any other asteroid.
All right. So there's that. Now, we see what's in the sky. Let's see what's on the ground. And let's get Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 2. Let I remind you that, the description of the angels is in Ezekiel, right? A brother from Puerto Rico, right? He went to Puerto Rico. He's from New York. He went back to Puerto Rico. I don't know if he was from Puerto Rico and went to New York and then went back. I'm not too sure about that, but he was living in New York, went to Puerto Rico, and he was what they call abducted, right? So he was on a chariot and having a conversation with which he described as a black male, right? And one of what people describe as grays, the ET phone home looking like type entities, he picked one up. And he's like, you see this? This is what we call, this is a drone. You know, we use them as drones. So as we use drones to see things and, you know, where we don't have to go, that's how they use them. And there was one scene in Compton, California. Let's talk about it. All right, let's get Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 2. When they see it, it shall be troubled, Slakia, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for.
Lucky, you want me to read for y'all?
Khan, the water king.
I'll read for you.
Khan.
Blink and you might miss it, but Jessica Ortiz didn't.
Like, I'm going crazy. I'm literally going crazy. Like, I'm losing my mind. And I took the phone from my son, so I was like, "Can you check this for me?" I was like, "Am I seeing things, or is this what I'm seeing?"
What do you see? Here it is paused. It's from her ring video from June 5th in Southern California.
And he's like, "Mom, it's an alien. Call the police." And I was like, "I'm not calling the police on an alien."
But is it an alien?
What does that look like to you? Does that look like a human? It does not look human to me.
Do you think this alien video is real? It looks pretty real to me.
Jessica is not 100% sure.
We didn't even know what to do. Like, I'm not going to call the police. I'm not going to go outside. I guess I'm going to have to live with the doubt because I'm not checking.
Scott Roeder is a little more confident.
Most likely, we're not alone here on planet Earth. I think we share this space with beings and creatures that we are not readily able to recognize or acknowledge that are there.
He's a crime scene reconstruction expert. With Jessica's information, he worked on an incident report and even this 3D model.
Based on the totality of circumstances of the evidence we had, we estimate that the creature is about 3 feet tall, with 2 arms and 2 legs, walking at what we would consider a normal pace.
But are you ready for the bubble to pop?
I think it's a human.
And why would you say it's a human, even though the shape is so weird?
What we see really in the camera is not necessarily what you will see in your eyes, right? Because it goes through all these image compression and it goes through the transmission, all these processes.
Dr. Sean Pang is an expert in digital cameras and imaging at UCF. He says the low light and the video compression is what fools us. And while he's confident a human walked through the camera, he can't say what the person actually looked like in the first place.
Those information lost in the encoding and decoding process.
So maybe it's better left for Hollywood cameras, like in the 2002 movie Sign. See the resemblance there? It was pointed out to us by paranormal investigator Zach Bagans.
I'll admit it does look very alien-ish. Especially with the elongated head and with the very hunched over back, skinny neck, and I saw what appeared to be very skinny arms.
So they may still be out there, but it seems like Jessica has nothing to worry about.
If she isn't reporting anything inside of her house, no strange phenomena, she doesn't see bright lights in her bedroom, she's not levitating or being hoisted up into a mothership, I wouldn't see there's anything to worry about. But I cannot conclude that this is a hoax.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated.
All right, let's move on to the next video, which you can hear her talk about it further.
Here's everything
Of course, you had, what was that, Moab? Moab said, there's nothing to see here, right? But, you know, there's not too many 3-foot people walking around people's backyard at 1 o'clock in the morning in Compton, California. Now, also, what you're going to hear her say is that there were plenty other cameras running, not just the motion cameras, and none of them picked this up. So you decide. But let's hear it from her own mouth, her own perspective.
This alien. This is crazy, all right? So yes, basically an alien has been caught in California. And mate, I'm telling you, when you see this, like this it is pretty much an alien, I gotta say, right? Listen to what Jessica has to say about this. This is really interesting.
I just want to point out how funny, and I think it's so cool. I can hear the excitement in your voice when you when you talk about how interesting the video is, and I like that. You know, I like people who are actually trying to investigate it. You know, for positive reasons, not to try and debunk it. Because I mean, I'm not hiding or claiming it's anything. That's one thing for the record.
I was excited. I was reached out to her. I was like, look, mate, I really, this is amazing. Please, let me know about this.
I've never said it's, anything specific. I really don't know what it is. And so that's my whole thing, if you read the caption on mine, I'm asking, can anyone tell me what this is? Because I don't know. And it's just really, really obviously, you see it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I've never claimed it to be an alien or a demon or, people have suggested. I'm just, still after almost 2 months, still wondering what it is. People say it's a person carrying a bag and this and that, but the truth is that if you look at the video, over our door, there's a camera, and that camera faces the driveway. We have a camera in the back as well. As soon as you pass our back gate, that also triggers another camera. Our neighbors across the street, neighbors to our left, neighbors to our right, have cameras, and no one caught a person walking, even if our cameras didn't get triggered for whatever reason, which I understand sometimes happens. Their cameras would have caught somebody walking or driving up or anyone around that time coming into our property, but they didn't. None of the cameras were ever triggered at 1 o'clock in the morning. No one's, and some of them are not motion censored. They're constantly running, so that also confirms that no one pulled up. So no one can go in or out of our property without getting caught eventually on some camera somewhere, and no one did. I confirmed it with the people who live in the back house because we do have a back house. I'm very close to them, so I did give them a call at 1 o'clock in the morning. And well, let me start from the beginning. I was walking to my room from my son's room, and I had just finished having a conversation with him. And when I walked into my room, I unlocked my phone. And I'm assuming that the ring notification had just gone through because it was about 4 minutes after it had captured the image. And so when I walked in and I unlocked my phone, it opened the video. So I never actually intended to go into my ring and view the video. It was just something that happened when I unlocked it, which is even crazier because I wasn't even looking. So as soon as the phone opened and it unlocked, since you see in the video, it happens right away. If you blink, you miss it. But I saw it and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, I was so confused. I was even talking to myself out loud. I was like, what the heck is this? I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind, And I walked back to my son's room and I showed him the video and I asked him, hey, can you double check this for me? Because I think I'm seeing things where I'm looking at it too close, or how sometimes you can look at something and somebody points out like, oh no, it's this. And once you see it, you cannot see it. So I thought maybe I was looking.
Is this eyes that I'm picking up on here?
Too hard or whatever it was. And he sat up, he looked at the video about 3 times, and right away my son goes, Mom, it's an alien, call the police. And I'm like, I'm not gonna call the police on an alien, Kevin. No, I'm not gonna do it.
You're not gonna call the police on an alien.
Yeah, so he was really scared. Mind you, this is 4 minutes or so after it was captured. So it was captured at 1:02 1:03, I want to say about 1:07. By 1:09, I called my neighbor that lives in the house in the back of our property. They do work late sometimes, so if the gate opens at that time, like 1 o'clock in the morning, it's not uncommon because of the times that they work. So I called to confirm. By 1:09, I was calling to confirm, and I asked my friend, I go, hey, did your parents go in or out of the property right now? She's like, no, I don't think so. And I go, do me a favor, please go downstairs, go confirm with them because I caught something on the ring and I think it looks really crazy. And I wanted to make sure it's not you guys going in or out.
I'm just wondering, is it like, because she said none of her neighbors saw anybody walking, and it didn't trigger off. If like, in order to get to that position, like, the cameras would have had to have gone off beforehand, and this has just popped up, and it just made me think. And I know I go on about it, and I know some people absolutely hate it when I go on about it, right? But I do have a love for it, right? The Miami Mall incident, where people were claiming, and I know there's fireworks, Ben. There was a group of kids with fire. Okay, all right. Let's see the CCTV footage. Let's see everybody's mobile phone footage, right? Let's see the police camera footage. But what I'm saying is, those things were the people were claiming for those to be interdimensional alien shadow bastards. Okay? These things were flickering. Is this bit here where this alien is like there, the glitch? Like, why? I mean, I'm not being funny, but if we like look at the distance between each frame, okay. Look at the distance between each frame. Just a couple of inches between each frame. Why aren't we seeing it from here to here to here to here? And there just so happened to be a glitch just when it appears. Is this it coming into the realm of the paranormal? Let's go back to what she said. Sorry, Jessica.
She goes downstairs, she asks, both of them say no. Where's your brother? He's asleep. Okay. I go, I'm gonna send you a video. I need you to tell me what you think you see. I send it to her right away. And she's like, oh my God, why did you send me this? Like, she was afraid, so that kind of gave me like a little bit more validation, that my son got scared. I got scared. So it does, it looks really creepy.
It is, love. And look, also, we've got some sound here too. What's up with the sound there, Jessica? Do you know?
And I didn't want to go outside and look. I was too scared to go outside and look, but in my mind, like, this is still in our backyard because this just happened. It's not barely even 5 minutes after it happened. So I'm terrified. My son's terrified. And he tells me, Mom, close my windows. So I put my hand through the curtains, but I never actually look outside. I just close the windows without looking out. And yeah, it was really scary. At that moment, it was really scary. And so the next morning, I wake up and the first thing I do is I start asking my neighbors.
Right, okay, she's gonna ask her neighbors, but just look at this thing here that I've got, right? Just look at this thing here that I've got. I'm gonna just show you something else in a minute.
If they had caught anything, if, I showed them the video, my neighbors are freaking out, and some of them even show me right then and there, like at the moment, because they have it on their phones, and no one's cameras caught anything. My front neighbor from across the street, she has a camera pointing down her driveway. It lines up with our driveway, and no one came in or out of the property, and that freaked me out. a little more, you know? My aunt lives next door, like the house right next door to our right. It's the one that's by the driveway where it's actually captured. I had uploaded the video that night when it happened, and maybe an hour or so after it happened, because I wasn't going to call the police. So I was just wondering actually if anyone had seen anything that looked like that. I had even put it on the Compton Facebook groups. So in the morning, I went to go check, you know, next door with my aunt as well. And she tells me then that about maybe 12:40, 12:45, she had heard two loud bangs on the roof of her house.
She heard two. What? She heard two loud bangs on the roof of her house? Right, I'm showing you this dude here, right? I'm showing you this dude here because this is a video that I did. When did I do this? A year ago, okay? And it looks so darn realistic. Look at this thing. Look at the head. And no one, look at the head, mate. And no one's debunked this yet, guys. Right? And I'm just saying.
She was in the kitchen, and after the second bang, she said she heard like crawling, like scratching noises. She said she knew that it wasn't outside, like in the backyard. She said it wasn't like under the house. She heard it on the top, like on the roof. And she said while she heard those scratching noises, she heard a third loud bang. She said after that third bang, she ran into her room and she started to pray. She said she was terrified. And it's very uncommon for us to feel any type of fear or feel like we're not safe here in our home. You know, this block is very quiet, it's very calm. And so for her to feel terrified, you know, in the way that she did, and for us to be here at home scared the way that we were, you know, that's not a coincidence, you know. That's another thing that, you know, kind of confirms this for me, because it's a gut feeling, you know. And people can try and say it's a person, it's carrying this, it's carrying that. But in that moment, when you feel that fear, you know that everything that you know is logical to think, or you know, you try to find a solution, you know, to whatever problem it is that's kind of making you think like that, is not following through. You know, it's not, I can't explain it, but you know it's not a person.
Yeah.
And it's scary. But I didn't want to go outside and look. And that just kind of confirmed also what, you know, what we were hearing, I mean, what we were seeing, and just kind of, you know, just the time and everything. But I never, yeah, like I said, I never went to go outside and look, and nobody else did. And, you know, none of the other cameras were triggered, and that's the only one that caught anything. And that was it. You know, it's just taken off, you know, once I posted it online from there. But I hope that answered most of your questions.
It did,
If you
Jessica.
have any, you can feel free to ask me, and I'll try to do my best to give as much information as I can. But again, the video is the one that's on my Instagram.
Like, thank you, Jessica, so much. This is weird, man. And you could tell as well. First of all, she's.
And okay, so that's her own words, and trying to read what that says in the video, and it says something like, God, dear God, I can't really read it. I'm trying to, you know, it says something, I want to take a minute to not to ask for anything, but to simply thank you, or no, say, But the simply for I think it says simply thank you for what I already have, or something to that effect. You know what I mean? It's very strange that it happened to manifest right there in front of that sign on her porch. You can, you know, obviously, come to your own conclusion. What do you think if it's real or fake or a hoax or something like that? But the truth is stranger than fiction. And we can leave it at that. Let's continue on. All right, King. Let's get to the next scripture. We're going into the Apocrypha, second Ezra, chapter 16. Let me see. Second Ezra, chapter 16 and verse, where we at? 12, Baba Gashar.
My bad. This is second Ezra chapter 16 and verse 12 when you have it say Khan.
Khan.
The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord, and before the glory of his power.
Khan. So this happened yesterday.
This morning, tsunami waves hitting the west coast of the U.S. after one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded. We're trying to see the developments here stemming from this initial quake. The massive 8.8 magnitude quake struck off Russia's coast, shaking cliffs. The shocks felt inside homes and hospitals, hitting this one during an operation. Its impact causing small tsunami waves and evacuations in Japan, where people were sheltering on rooftops. And now parts of the United States feeling the impact. On the West Coast, residents bracing. Piers closing up in California amid tsunami advisories. Water surging in Hawaii, reaching buildings after waves and strong winds struck overnight. Tsunami advisories and evacuation warnings spreading throughout the islands. Flights diverted and passengers stranded in airports. Residents sheltering inside and some racing to safer ground, causing massive traffic jams. Hawaii's governor urging people to proceed with caution in coastal zones.
Just be a little safe for a little longer. Keep our fingers crossed that we don't suffer a big tsunami.
Madison Wade, a reporter at NBC's Seattle affiliate, says she arrived at Waikiki just hours before the tsunami warnings.
They went over the intercom and told all of us to evacuate to higher ground, which means the fourth floor or above, and stay in our rooms. So they don't want anyone in the lobby right now.
Experts now warn against standing down too soon.
When you've got a big one, the biggest wave can come later.
And back here on the West Coast, while we've certainly not seen the brunt of these tsunami waves, officials making sure to say that they are not out of the woods just yet. The National Weather Service in the Bay Area, Savannah, saying that these can still create dangerous conditions. They're seeing tidal shifts of 2 to 2.5 feet, and that could create dangerous currents up and down the coast here. Savannah?
That's a tense night there. All right, Morgan, thank you very much.
Let's bring in Al now, who's going to sort of show us how all of this started.
That's right. So here we go. You can get a sense right off the Russian coast, 7:24 p.m. Eastern time. This thing was 13 miles deep. I mean, that is massive. You combine that with the magnitude 8.8. This is probably going to end up being a top 10 strongest earthquake ever that since they've been recording this. So we've got really some sort of sense of how big this is now. So here's the earthquake epicenter. Now, a tsunami travels across the ocean at about 500 miles per hour. The distance to Hawaii, that's about 3,000 miles, 6 hours. Distance all the way to the West Coast, 4,000 miles, that would take about 8 hours. So that's why we've already started to see some of this in the Hawaiian Islands where the tsunami advisories were. Highest waves right now, we're talking about Halawea at 4 feet, Kahului, 5.7 feet on the island of Maui. You can see that the wave heights got up to 5.7, but you can see this undulation that's been happening since then. So the water levels dropped below 3.5 feet and then rose 9 feet in just minutes. So that's a heck of a wave that is happening. And then along the West Coast, we're looking at from all the way from Seattle all the way down into San Diego. We've got tsunami advisories. There have been some waves. Crescent City, about 3.5 feet. Port St. Louis, about 1.3. Santa Monica, about a half-foot wave. So we're not, again, out of the woods yet, but we are going to be watching this over the next several hours because people still, and there can be aftershocks as well. Yeah. So we have to.
So now, it said that the sixth largest earthquake in recorded history, 8.8 in Russia, okay, causing multiple tsunami waves throughout the earth, okay? Final destination time, you know what I'm saying? Really on some final destination time. The tsunami I saw hit Russia. I went to sleep, so I didn't see if it hit any other place. I know it hit Russia, it was moving buildings around. So the tsunami definitely did hit on the planet yesterday. Waves are roaring. Okay, so for our last video, we're going to talk about how Esau digs a hole and then he falls into it. And this is something that will be continuing to occur because him and his diabolical state would just never get it. You know what I'm saying? Seems like they all have what the Pharaoh has, and it's just their heart is continuing to be hardened. They're very hard-headed. Can't see what's in front of them, the judgment that's taking place all around them, and they still have something smart to say in any given situation. So the Most High has something smart to give them in any given situation, and we're going to see that right now. Let's get Psalm chapter 7 and verse 15. Esau has a big mouth, and now that they have the internet, they would like to speak to the heavens. You know what I'm saying? Even though, of course, it says in Revelation 18, I believe, verse 5, that their sins have reached up the heavens. They like to speak to the heavens and say how we need to do this better and we're doing that wrong, and so forth and so on. And then the Most High turns it right around to them. You can bring it out, King.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 7, and verse 15. You have to say, Khan.
Khan.
He made a pit and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made.
Khan, you know what I mean? You're digging a hole for someone, and then you fall into the hole. Let's get Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 7 just as a precept, and you can hold that, and we're going to watch this video about Esau urinating on himself multiple times. I mean, multiple times. It's sad, but it is hilarious. Hopefully you enjoy this as much as I have.
He should have just complied. He is the reason he got punched in the face.
Keep this in mind because
He's back there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm being. I can't stop being. I'm so sorry. I'm winning this now. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Why don't you stop, buddy? You heard us being bored in hell and scared. I'm sorry. You got scared? Yeah, I got scared. I'm sorry. All right. No, it's my fault, not you. Okay. Yeah. Arsenal was like, those are no contact before. Oh, yeah, you rocked up. So. Like what? Yeah. Ooh. It's, you gotta check behind that tree. The first time I came out there, you were something behind that tree. Read up here. Yeah, but.
That was him appearing to piss himself when the cops arrived.
Guys, I'm peeing. Hey. Hey, guys. Hey, I'm peeing. Hi. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I ran, guys. I'm peeing. I'm sorry I ran. I was scared of the police. Weirdly, because I'm always on the internet telling other people that if they simply comply, they should be fine. I'm peeing. I didn't realize that you guys did this to white people too. That's my bad. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm still peeing. Is that going to be a problem? Guys, I want you to know I'm a pretty big deal on the internet. A lot of gullible Trump supporters look up to me. They respect me. Okay. I'm peeing. And I want you to know that I back the blue. Okay, I do. When I'm not running from you guys because of all my criminal behavior, I love you guys. I trust you guys. I respect you guys. And I'm still peeing.
He was mocked for it.
You know, I hesitated for a split second when I was sent these videos. Should I post these? These are even more embarrassing than I thought. And then you came across my For You page saying that kid getting pulled out of his car and punched in the mouth, it was his fault. He shouldn't just have complied.
I'm sorry, I'm peeing. Okay.
So now the internet gets a video of you announcing that you're peeing yourself after you resisted arrest, right? I'd like to highlight something else, though.
Stop, get on the ground. You looked at us and you decided to turn around and walk away. And you told me that you didn't know why you did that.
No, I saw the light. I literally walked away.
But you saw the tape.
That's you in a squad car on your phone, having had your medical needs attended to, calling whoever you need to attend to your affairs, that you were given the courtesy, the grace to do that. You know what that kid got? A knuckle sandwich and a ride to the jail. What's crazy is the hubris knowing that this footage was about to come out and the words should have just complied came out of your mouth. That's crazy, man. Anyway, one more for the road.
And also shown how hypocritical he could be.
I'm sorry. Got scared? Yeah, I'm scared. Sorry. All right.
This is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen on this app. And I wouldn't make this video if it weren't for the hateful that you post. You know, I've been tased. I've been to jail multiple times. One night I was tased 3 times for resisting arrest. And I did not act like that. The dramatics, the absolutely pathetic. And this is the party. This is the influencer of the alpha males. It's gross. Watching that video, I felt gross. But the truth is that your reaction is a normal human reaction. When that cop asked you, why didn't you stop? And you said, because I was scared. I'm scared. That's normal. And I would really like you to take that experience and apply it to other people. You're so lucky that your skin is not brown, bro. And you know that. You can never again get on this app and tell people that they just need to comply. Because you expect them to do something superhuman, to have some type of superhuman clarity in a situation where they are scared and you couldn't even do the same thing. Get the out of here.
Former snipers see FH Unfiltered went at him as well. Hilarious, isn't it? That someone like the older millennial who we all, unfortunately, have had to see, whether it is through not even knowing who he was at first and then immediately scrolling past, or others dunking on him that get put on your FYP, respectively. It's the fact that this dude is so wrong so many times. I remember, guys, when he posted a TikTok video of Trump in, I want to say Queens or Brooklyn or the Bronx, somewhere in New York, right? And it was a photo of a crowd looking at a speaker. And he goes, see, this is why Trump is amazing. Even in big, bluey blue New York, he can draw crowds like this. A quick fact check, maybe 5 seconds, would show that it was a Barack Obama rally. I mean, the sheer confidence of how absurd this man's arguments are and how he continues to spew falsehoods and get views and get an audience. I mean, he's been banned multiple times because all he does is pro-Trump, pro-state propaganda. If he were a Russian, he would work for Russian state TV. If he were an Israeli, he would work for Israeli state TV. That is how much he bootlicks far-right fascists. But to have such a clear-cut example with him practically putting out a video proclaiming, "Do as I say, not as I do," and having others showcase a body cam video where he did not appear to comply and he pissed himself. And how the rules don't apply because he is a Caucasian male that Good Trouble brought up, rightfully, that he is allowed to use his phone in the backseat of a squad car. Incredible. It's the lack of empathy. It's this idea of, I might have been on police body cam resisting potentially and not complying potentially, but you know what? I'm just going to go out there and go after a black dude who got assaulted by the cops to say he should have complied. What a world.
Andrew, we continue our coverage tonight in the
Okay, so you know, I'm peeing. I'm still peeing. How much pee did this man have? You know what I'm saying? Like that's unbelievable. You know, from the time he started talking to the time he finished, that was a lot. You know what I mean? And to sit in the back of that squad car, I hope they had to hose that thing out. You know what I'm saying? Esau had an accident. Let's bring that out. Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 27.
This is Proverbs chapter 26 and verse 27. What you got to say,
Khan.
Whosoever diggeth.
Slack start at 26.
Khan, verse 26. Whose hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be shewed before the whole congregation.
Yeah. So and Esau's sense, he is being exposed in front of the entire world. Go ahead.
Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein. He that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him.
And it fell right on him. You know what I'm saying? He dug the pit, fell right in it. So all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. Esau, you see him talking trash online or whatever like that. The Most High got him lined up. It's so many things happening right now as far as chariots coming by way of a whole nother solar system, messages and radio burst and light being shown, not light, like flashes of burst of energy hitting the earth at a interval times, aliens walking in Compton. You know what I'm saying? This is Final Destination time. So, just don't get too worked up when, Esau says something smart. You just pray to the Most High, ask him to send curses onto him, and just watch it happen. You know what I'm saying? Because you found the law, statutes, commandments, your prayers pierce the clouds. And regular Edomites don't get that. The high-ranking Edomites probably get that, but even then, there's nothing they can do about it. And they're just allowing their people to get destroyed out here, thinking that they know something and that they're better than God's chosen people. Imagine that. Kom Yashala, we got next. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. We're going to end in prayer. So if you want to stand and face the east, prostrate and face the east, however you want to pray, now is the time. So I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. Kom Yashala. This is the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malachwaka, Daba'a, Ratazaka, Ayah, Asha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashamayim, Nadananawa, Lacham, Kau, Yawam, Wasalafnawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalafnawa, Kabawafinawa, Wala'a, Daminawa, Banasai 1, Abo, Hawashinawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwaf, Wa'ala, Wataparaf, La Walamyam,
Man. Oh, praise it.
This is Book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Man.
Yeah, all praises. The water for reading, King. Appreciate it.
All praises to the Most High.
Con. Okay, so let's prepare ourselves for the future. Okay, the future is looking good for law-abiding Israelites, not so much for everyone else. Also, let's prepare ourselves for feast days coming up. We got Feast of Tabernacles coming up. That's one of those feast days you just can't prepare for within a day. So let's start now. You know what I mean? You got, tents, things you need. We have a list. Okay, that list will go out. If you need one, hit me up, let me know. And what to prepare for. Okay, we'll talk more regarding on the Sabbath, which the class is going to be called Alien Abduction. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no point holding no punches nowadays, right? This is it. We in the last days of the last days, right? But we're going to talk about tabernacles if you want to enjoy the feast with us here at HY Philadelphia, then we can discuss some things, make sure everybody is well vetted, you know what I mean? Not coming with no folly and stuff like that, but send out email link, send an email, and a couple questions, questionnaire, whatever like that, because of course we'll be living with each other for a while, so it's very important that we're all on the same page. Okay, Esau's the error bot. You gotta go. We're not going to be dealing with that. All right, but other than that, prepare, and we'll talk how much will cost and all that stuff. We'll talk about that on the Sabbath. Okay, and that's just about it. Hopefully this was edifying. It's the final destination, the final stop. All right, let's get it together. You've seen the beginning of the class, we talked about Russia, which a lot of people aren't even thinking about now, you know what I mean? But that thing is still going on, and NATO is still pressing Russia, and Russia still has nuclear weapons. So you already know what that is. Kwom Yashala, we got next. Shalom.